It's the GIS Professor here to show you how to finalise and export your ArcGIS online map. This tutorial was made in the Classic Map Viewer, so before we start just make sure we're in this. If you're in the Classic Viewer already, there should be a button in the top right saying Open in New Map Viewer. If you're already in the New Map Viewer, it will look like this, and all you have to do is just click Open in Map Viewer Classic in the top right. In the previous two videos I showed you how to add primary and secondary data, so this is already in this map. Please go through and watch these two videos if you don't already have this data in your map. So I'll start off by turning on the point of interest data, which shows all the schools in the area. Then I'll turn on the flood zone data as well, so we can see both of them in conjunction. As you can see, the flood zone data is actually sitting on top of the schools, which isn't what we want, as it makes it hard to see the school data. So what we'll do is go to the left hand side, left click, and move the point of interest data above the flood zone data. This means it will draw on top of it and make the schools easier to see. Then click the change style button, which looks like a triangle, square and circle. This will allow us to change the appearance of each of the layers. If you then go over and click on the options button, you'll see three sections. The symbols button will allow you to change the colour and the outline of the layer. Below that you can see the transparency scale bar. This is really useful when you have multiple data sets stacked on top of each other. The higher the transparency, the more see-through the layer will become. The last bar at the bottom shows the visible range of the data. If you leave this as default, the layer will show at whatever zoom you're looking at, whether it's looking at the whole of the UK or zoomed in to a specific town. Changing this will just stop it plotting at different zooms. Go ahead and click on the symbols button, and here you'll see a colour palette pop up. There are two main sections here, the fill and the outline. Currently we're clicked in the fill tab, which means any changes we make will change the inside of the shapefile, which is currently in blue. I've decided to change this fill to a slightly darker blue. Then click on the outline button, and as you can see here, the shapefile is highlighted in black around the outside, and I think this is too thick for now. So I've manually changed the line width to 0, and as you can see, the outline is now gone. Once you've decided on your fill and outline, click OK, and then click Done to save the changes. You want to repeat this process for every single layer you want represented on the map to make it look as good as possible. I've decided I wanted to quickly tweak the school layer here, so I've gone into the symbology and changed it to a red colour in the fill and black as the outline. I still don't think that the school data is popping out as much as it should do, so I go back to the transparency scale bar and move it down to 0%, meaning there's no transparency at all in it, and this makes the red pop out more. Currently the map is only colouring in the area of the school, and it's not giving any more information than that. So the next thing we need to do is to add labels to the map. You can do this by clicking the three dots to the right of each layer and clicking Create Labels from the drop down. So firstly, you want to make sure the Label Features checkbox is ticked at the top left, which it is. Below this you can see a drop down box which says Name. We want the name of the school in this instance, but if it isn't showing the correct data that you want, just click on the drop down box and choose the data that you want to be labelled. The rest is fairly self-explanatory. You can change the text size, you can make it bold, italic, underlined, change the colour, and the thing I like the most is the halo button. Click this and it will put an outline around your text so it makes it easier to read on top of all the data in your map already. In this case I want to make the halo a bit bigger, so I change it to 2, and now I'm happy with the labels that I've created. And now we're happy how the layers have been represented in the map, we want to give them appropriate names so that they show in the legend in the finished map. Go ahead and click on the three dots again to the right of the layer and then click Rename. A pop-up will come up and then put the name you'd like in here, click OK. In this instance I've called the layer School Names. Go ahead and do this for every single layer that you want in the map. The flood zone layer had quite a long name, so I just abbreviate this to Environment Agency Flood Zone 3. Now the map is exactly how we want it to be before we print it off. We want to go and click the Save button, click Save As, and from here we can give the map a title which will show on the finished PDF map, and we can also give the map tags which will make the map easier to find on your online ArcGIS account. Now your map has been saved, and the last thing we want to do is print it so we have a final copy of it in PDF format. Now go and find the print button in the top right and click Map with Legend, as this will pull in all the layer descriptions that we put in earlier. As you can see here, while the map is loading, it's got a title at the top that we typed in, the two layers with their names on the left. The layers are shown in the symbology that we chose, and then in the bottom right we also have a scale bar. If you're a student doing coursework, I'm really sorry, but ArcGIS Online does not allow adding north arrow to the map. North is always plotted to the top of the page, so you may want to Photoshop this in after at the end of the process. Go ahead and click Ctrl P, which is the shortcut to take us to the print page. In the top left-hand corner of the page, you can see the printer drop-down. Here you either want to click a real printer to print the page off, or you want to click on your print to PDF software, which will print a digital copy for you. Here I'm using Microsoft Print to PDF. You may also want to change the orientation of the map, and I've changed this to landscape to fill out the page better. You can also click on more settings to make some tweaks, such as print into a bigger paper size. You can also scale up the map to make sure that the map fills the page out better, although you have to be really wary of doing this. In this instance, scaling up the map will also scale up the scale bar as well, so it's all in proportion. But just remember, if you've set the scale to 1 to 100 or 1 to 1000, and then you scale at the printing stage, you then won't be looking at the same zoom or scale that you originally intended. Go ahead and click the print button, give it an appropriate name and save it locally. You can then open it in your preferred PDF viewer, which may be Adobe Reader. I really hope that was helpful and it will go towards good coursework grade. Please comment down below if you have any questions about the video, and please let me know if there are any more GIS topics that you are finding difficult, as I can always cover this in a new video.